Shalom, shalom, Mishpachah. This is your gal checking in. Lots going on. We already know the war was started already, but now it's getting, more heated with Israel retaliating back against Iran. I know you guys have been following what's going on. There was a bombing where Israel killed one of the generals for Iran a couple weeks ago. And then Iran retaliates. I'm sorry, my nose is stopped up, y'all. Iran retaliates last week, and now Israel re-retaliates, right? And so we're getting into a very hot war here in the Middle East, what they call the Middle East. And there are just some confusions that are in the mainstream Israelite consciousness that we're going to have to just address right away. So identifying people in prophecy is very important. You can't identify the people that are in the land as the people of the land. Do you understand? Let me repeat that. You can't identify the people in the land as the people of the land. You can't say, okay, these are the ancient Israelites because they're in Israel, right? We know that. Then at the same point in time, you can't say these are the ancient Persians or the ancient Medes because they're in the land of Persia, Media. Do you understand? So let's do some identification on what's going on, and let's go through the history real quick. I hate to sound aggressive here, but golly, misidentification in prophecy is real. So please. So we've got videos coming out saying that the false Israel that is in Israel now are Edom. It's not the case. These guys are not Edomites, right? Edomites are black. They were black. They're not mixed in with the Romans to the extent that they're white now. Remember, Rome wasn't white. Okay. Rome wasn't white. So the prophecies that say that Edom or not the prophecies, but the writings that say that Edom and Rome have joined, this doesn't make them white, y'all. This does not make them white. They didn't start off white. They're not white now. Rome wasn't white. When you look and see white people, these people are not Romans. When you look and see white people, these people are not Edom. They're not Edom. They're not. You really are going down some some racist territory because you don't like white people now. You're associating them with ancient Edom and ancient Persia, I guess now. It's just not the case. You don't have these people making any major waves in ancient history. You just have to stop it. You've got to stop. Edom is more than likely the people that are in Ethiopia now. Because guess what? The people that are in Ethiopia, the Bible says, were the darkest people in the world, and those aren't them. You are looking at the Gog-Magog consolidation. That's what this is. These people are Gog and Magog. And guess what? Gog and Magog are more than just Russia. Gog and Magog is Russia. Gog and Magog is China. Gog and Magog is England. Gog and Magog is America, also the seat of Babylon. Gog and Magog is Israel. Gog and Magog is France. Gog and Magog is Germany. All of these different nations have been invaded by Gog and Magog in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th centuries. That's who these people are. You have to understand, you guys, that from the steppes, from the Caucasus regions, from the mountainous regions in that area, came forth a people that have come from and identify themselves as Scythians. You go and look at who Scythians are. These are the people that were Tiras. These are the people that were the ancient Japhethites. So here's the thing, you guys. Here's the thing. In the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th centuries, there were what you call Vikings. The Vikings, who were known under many different names. These are these are German tribes. These are Germanic tribes that come from, like I said, the Caucasus Mountains, and began to push south and west, right? And so this is when the racial makeup of the entire world changes. Look at the ancient Medes and Persians. They are depicted as black people with straight hair, but black folks, right? So the people that you're looking at in India looked more like the Persians back then. The people that you're looking at in India are more than likely the Persians. They are more likely the Persians. And so you say, okay, well, what about the Indians in India in the ancient times? Those weren't Indians. Those were Ethiopians. Remember that the Queen of Sheba controlled land all in that region. Remember that the Romans called India Ethiopia. The Romans called India Ethiopia because the land, that territory, the Ethiopian territory, was very, very vast. You guys are getting confused in your history. Don't go to America and say, oh, look at these Native Americans. Look at these Indians here. Look at these people in the land. They're not the people of the land. Something happened about 400 years ago that changed the racial makeup of the land of America. Something changed. What you're looking at is Gog and Magog invasion. And so you have to understand that in world history, Gog and Magog became powerful and they started to invade the rest of the world. The people that we're talking about as being white people, the people that have, developed white skin, because of course this wasn't always the case, but developed blue eyes, developed blonde hair, developed all these characteristics from being wherever, whatever, in whatever sort of state that they were in, that allowed their body to adapt to that environment, to adapt this white skin, to adapt these blue eyes or light eyes, to adapt this blonde bleachy hair. Those people have invaded the rest of the world. They've invaded the rest of the world and changed the racial makeup of the rest of the world. This is Gog and Magog. Notice in the book of Revelation, you don't hear Edom's name mentioned, not once. But you see Gog and Magog, right? At the end of the world there, right? In Revelation 20. Gog and Magog is the players at the end of the world, not Edom. The prophecy that talks about the end of the age in 2nd Ezra is talking about the age of the Herodian kings. The age of the Herodian kings came to an end, and so did Esau. Now they are not major players on the world stage. You're talking about Gog and Magog. And guess what? They're at war with each other and will unite at the end of the war. That's what this war is. This is the Gog-Magog consolidation war. Oh man, my nose is running. I can't get this message out. All right. Gog and Magog. This is what you're looking at. You're not looking at Edom. Y'all stop being racist, because false prophecy, because you don't like a race of people, is racism. I don't care what nobody says. False identification because you don't like somebody is racist. You can't use the Bible and try to pin your enemy on your current enemy. It's not going to work, but it will work if you look at it the right way. Gog and Magog. There's a map that I saw way back in the day that traces the German, the Gothic hordes, right? As they come from these regions in the far north and the far east, they come down and invade Russia. They come down and invade Germany. They come down and invade France. They come down and invade England. They come down and invade Rome. And all of those places today, you see white people, right? Back in the day, you did not used to see that. You used to see darker skinned people. You used to see black people. You used to see Hebrews. These Gog and Magogites came and pushed all of the darker ethnic people west and south. That's why you see all the darker folks in the southern regions. They were all spread out all over the world. Now you don't see that. Now even in the Caucasus regions, you had people called Colchis, which were people that were black skinned like the Ethiopians and had deep, dark, curly hair. See, from ancient Roman times, when the original Caucasians were black too. At some point in time, the Gog and Magogites came out and changed the world, changed the way the world looked. There was an invasion that happened a very long time ago that was covered up in history. And now we don't know that in ancient history, why people weren't proliferated like they are now. It's just not the case. So please do not associate the ancient Medes and Persians with the people who you see in Iran right now. They're Gog and Magog. Please don't associate the ancient Edomites with the people that you see in Israel right now. They're Gog and Magog. Please don't associate Britain with the ancient Israelites, which some people like to do. They're Gog and Magog. There's a British parade in London, in the central city London, in London Square, where all the business for the world is the city London. There's a country London and a city London, right? Like a whole country within the city of London that is isolated in its own place. It's called London City or London Square or something like that. And it's its own country, right? It has its own laws, it has its own rule structure, and it's different from the rest of the city of London, different from the rest of the nation of England. In that place, they have a Gog and Magog parade every year because they know who they are. They know who they are. Russia is Gog and Magog. China is Gog and Magog. England, Gog and Magog. France, Gog and Magog. Israel, Gog and Magog. And they're warring against each other so that the people in these places will unite as one solid Gog and Magog army. Look in Ezekiel. It says that Gog and Magog will gather up together all the rest of the world with them. And that's what they're doing right now. They're gathering up groups of people and joining themselves to these two factions. When these two factions fight, you've got the two factions. You've got the Western faction of Gog and Magog, and you've got the Eastern faction of Gog and Magog. The Eastern faction is China, Russia, Ukraine, and all them. They're consolidating on this side. The Western faction is Rome, America, England, Germany, all of these different groups consolidating on the other side. They will, oh, and then don't forget about the Middle Easterners. They're Gog and Magog too, because they were mixed in too. So Iran is in the group to the west, to the Eastern faction. So once these two groups consolidate, they will have the Gog and Magog world power. It will be a single unit. It will be a one world order ruled by Gog. Oh my gosh. Ruled by Gog, right? And this is why you see, listen, Vladimir Putin is the leader of all of these different countries. Vladimir Putin is the president of Iran. Vladimir Putin is the president of the Ukraine. Even though they're at war right now, quote unquote, Vladimir Putin is the president of Ukraine. Vladimir Putin controls to a certain bit China too. All of these places are run and orchestrated by Vladimir Putin. What about the other side? Who's the president of the United States? Benjamin Netanyahu. Who's the prime minister of the United Kingdom? Benjamin Netanyahu. Who is the prime minister of Canada? Benjamin Netanyahu. Because he controls, who's the president of France? Benjamin Netanyahu. Because he controls policy in all of these different places as one faction. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the war is really Benjamin Netanyahu versus Vladimir Putin. This is the war. And it's not even really a war. It's a false war to consolidate powers. You can't just go into one place and say, hey, we're grouped up together, because people will say, oh my gosh, here's the New World Order, right? No, you have to have a fierce battle in order to make people believe there's a need for consolidation and not just some behind the scenes groupings and dealings, right? And so this is how you get the new world power, by this false war, because both sides are Gog and Magog. Can't you tell that the United States does business with China? Can't you tell that the United States does business with Russia? That they have secret meetings, secret dealings behind the scenes, that they're not really, quote unquote, at war? They're not at war. Can't you see that all these people talk to each other behind the scenes? Didn't you see Donald Trump go down into to Arab regions and in the Saudi Arabia and putting his hand on the globe and all of that? They're not supposed to be aligned like they are. Didn't you see Barack Obama when they were running in the campaign on a hot mic, tell Vladimir Putin, hey, after the election, we can talk more. I have a little bit more leverage. That's because behind the scenes, they're working together. The war is just for us to get killed and dragged in psychologically. But really, it's a consolidation of Gog and Magog powers. Please, my Israelite brethren, stop misidentifying ancient nations with current nations. Just because there are people in the land of the Medes and Persians don't mean that that's the Medes and Persians, right? You know that about Israel. Just because they have some sort of connection to Rome doesn't mean that they're Esau. Esau was never white. Rome was never white. They were light-skinned. They were not white. The white people that we see today are Gog and Magog, all right? And I hate to get all hyped up and amped up about this, but people are just making all of these false prophecies, all of these false connections, and it's just not a good look for people. It's not a good look. Misidentifying prophecy don't get you nowhere but mad. If you think Esau is all of these different people, and you say Esau is that ancient enemy, and this is what is going on with Esau, look, Scripture says in Torah, thou shalt not hate an Edomite. So you're wrong off at the forefront. You're wrong. By Torah, you're wrong. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to understand the prophecy better than what you're doing. You're just false labeling, and it's not cool. This is the end of the world happening right now. This is what Gog and Magog is here for, according to the book of Revelation, right? This is what Gog and Magog is here for. Now, we know that after the kingdom, after the 1,000-year millennial kingdom, is when all of these things will come into place, and they'll come against the people that are in the land. But before the 1,000-year kingdom, you have the emergence of Gog and Magog. You have the war of Gog and Magog. So that now you see the powers that are coming together and consolidating and making this Gogite war. And then there will be a Gogite world, more so than it is right now. You're looking at invasion. You're looking at like the body snatchers type deal. You're looking at a full-scale invasion of the world by Gog and Magog that started about 1,500 years ago and is culminating now. The Khazars are Gog and Magog. The Rus are Gog and Magog. The modern Persians are Gog and Magog. The Visigoths, the Ostrogoths, all of those people invaded Rome. They invaded Rome in the 5th and 6th centuries. They invaded Rome. So Rome is not Rome anymore. If you've got Vikings that invaded Rome and didn't go anywhere, then you can't have Rome as Rome, can you? Rome is not the same anymore. They're Gogites. You guys understand? Even though Gog and Rome, Chittim, are distant cousins, now they're fully Gog. Do you understand? Do you understand, you guys? All right. Please, please lose the false doctrine and identify prophecy as it's meant to be. And does this mean that you hate Gog and Magog, that nobody from Gog and Magog is going to be saved, or that white people are all damned and doomed? No, it doesn't mean that. You will have Gog, Magog, refugees that come into Israel. So hallelujah for being able to understand and determine prophecy the correct way, you guys. Lots going on right now, y'all. Y'all are about to see a huge war where at the end of it, you're going to have Iran, Russia, England, Israel, America, all working together after this major mass cataclysm that's coming. All right, you guys. Shalom, shalom.